And welcome to True Blue Politics Daily Podcast with
Getting it
Anita
right. Yes.
and Karen. And it is April 4th.
No, 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 no. It's
Yes, it
May.
is.
No, it's May
Oh,
4th.
it's May 4th. It's May
You
4th.
know, I know because tomorrow is Cinco de Mayo, and
You're
that's a very
right.
important
Well,
holiday.
that's like your holiday, isn't it?
Well, in San Antonio, they definitely
Well,
celebrate
yeah.
it.
It's Margarita. Sorry, May 4th, 2026.
But I will have a margarita or two to celebrate.
Yes.
Of
Well,
course. I'm
that's
hoping
good.
my margarita truck is out there tomorrow.
Oh, I'm sure it will be.
Yes.
I'm
And they
sure
have
it
good
will be.
margaritas, very
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah. Well, is
Mm.
there any other?
Well, yeah, when they make them too weak, but this one, no, they do not.
Yes.
Mm-mm.
So, Anita, what are we talking about today? What do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about how there's been like this leaving MAGA movement, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
And in some ways, I mean, we want to form this coalition,
Coalition.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's also problematic. It's very difficult for us for me, and I know for you and a lot of people that listen to us to be it's problematic because it's hard for us to come to terms with the decisions they've made and to understand
Mm-hmm.
how they got there. And a lot of times the problems they're having are because it's hurting them personally,
Mm-hmm.
or some of them have actually woken up and are, because the Iran war, because the price. But once again, the prices, especially gas prices, because it's affecting them personally.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't care about all the races, and they didn't care about January 6th. They didn't care about
Mm-hmm.
all of
The
that,
cruelty. Mm-hmm.
the cruelty, but now, I'm having to pay more for gas.
Right.
So
Right.
that's, and
And so it's one of those things. And I know when we speak about this, I say, it's fine. We can have these conversations, but you need to show your work. Like,
mhm.
because my thing is, it's like if all you're doing is you're leaving because now you're pissed off and that, you feel betrayed and you feel like, you like you said, you're paying more at the pump or in the grocery store, which we all are. Thank you very much. But the reality is, it's not getting to the root cause of it. You're not coming out and making certain admissions. And so when I hear somebody like this first woman who we're going to play, who has been, was raised
Done the work.
Republican, voted Republican, and she has come to an awakening
Hmm.
and a reckoning about what is the root cause of people who are not millionaires, billionaires, and multinational, part of a multinational corporation, like a CEO, head of the,
Hmm.
and you don't benefit directly from Republican policies, which is basically giving, tax loopholes and benefits to the very
Very
to
few.
to very few. If you're not a part of that group,
Then you're
what
voting
is the
wrong. Yeah.
reason that you're really voting Republican?
Exactly. And a lot of times, and I just want to say this, a lot of times these people that say, oh, it's this thing, this is what broke them, a lot of times it's been, they're just tired of defending Donald Trump.
Hmm.
They're tired because they thought it was fun and games, but now it's,
It's serious.
yeah, and the vibes have shifted. They're
Hmm.
embarrassed
People are
because,
losing their health care. People they
yeah.
know are losing their health
Hmm.
care.
It's embarrassing, and it's they're getting hurt. People are actually getting hurt. I mean, they wanted people to get hurt, but not them.
Hmm.
A lot of people thought, oh, they're going to hurt those other people, and then when they get hurt, I mean, they're okay with those other people getting hurt,
Sure,
but when
sure,
it's affecting them, then all of a
sure.
sudden they say,
Yeah,
oh, wait a minute.
and then now they want to come back and like start talking seriously
Hmm.
without acknowledging the fact that they were okay hurting other people.
That's right. And that's the problem we have with
That
these
is the
people.
problem.
That's why we don't want to immediately embrace them, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Because what it says, and I even going back to 2016,
Mhm.
after that election, and I said, look, if you voted for him, unfriend me now because you're not going to like what I have to say. Because
No,
to me, it speaks about your character. It speaks about who you are as a person.
that's right. That's right. And
So,
so we should play this woman because she does come to a lot of realizations that are important if you're gonna fix yourself.
seriously.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do some work.
Yep. Yep. So I'm going to go ahead and play her.
Who is this?
This is this is on Twitter, Lamont Tyson. Or I'm sorry, on YouTube, Lamont Tyson, white Republican admits here, no, sorry. Wait, is this the same person? Hold on.
Yeah, he calls her a
Yeah.
he, but she's a she.
Yeah,
Okay,
she.
I
Thank
noticed
you.
that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I was like, wait, that's not right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and play this.
Hmm.
Chalk this up as things I didn't know as a Republican, probably by design, racism. In light of the Supreme Court's ruling this week, which
Turn
is
it up.
Yep.
Act of
Hold on, let me,
1965, I knew this had to be my next topic.
I'm gonna start it over.
Growing
Hold
up
on.
white in the Midwest, chalk this up as things I didn't know as a Republican, probably by design, racism. In light of the Supreme Court's ruling this week, which essentially gutted the Voting Rights Act of 1965, I knew this had to be my next topic. Growing up white in the Midwest in the 70s and 80s in a Mormon Republican household and a mixed race community, I internalized some positive but mostly problematic messages about race and racism. I heard my not Mormon grandpa use the N-word, but I knew instinctively, as children do, that that was wrong. I was taught that racism was bad, but also that racism was something America had overcome in the past. My parents had me watch the TV miniseries Roots, so I understood as much as a young white child could how wrong slavery was. But again, it was something that happened a long time ago, and whatever racism still existed was mostly taken care of by the civil rights movement. I had a kind elderly black woman for a Sunday school teacher, and I remember how happy my parents were when our church reversed its ban on black men receiving the priesthood. I had a few black friends at school, and I myself would never use a racial slur, so I believed that meant I wasn't racist. But I also picked up Ronald Reagan's messaging about welfare queens and knew that usually meant black women or girls. And because of that, I also believed that if the black people in my community, many of whom lived in government housing, quote, below the hill, if they found themselves disadvantaged in any way, it wasn't because of racism or the long shadow of racist systems and policies in our country. It was because they didn't want to do the work required to lift themselves out of poverty. They wanted to live off the government, and that wasn't right because we had fixed racism, and they had the same opportunities everyone else had. And yes, I now understand this way of thinking is as racist as anything. I learned the basics about the civil rights movement and Martin Luther King at school, but again, it came with a message of we fixed it. I wasn't taught about redlining, which I now know is why so many black people in my community still lived separate from the white communities on the Hill. I wasn't taught about the Tulsa Race Massacre, which happened when my grandparents were still alive, and similar events which were meant to prevent black people from getting too financially prosperous. I didn't know about the 40-year Tuskegee experiment where black men were essentially used as laboratory rats, something that only ended the year after I was born. And I also didn't learn about, or at least I didn't retain, the details of how black people had been kept from freely exercising their right to vote for the 100 years between the end of the Civil War and the Voting Rights Act of 1965 through things like literacy tests, poll taxes, and grandfather clauses. This is why we need Black History Month, for the record. I now know just how many people were opposed to MLK and the civil rights movement, and how those same people and forces started working almost immediately after the civil rights era to undo what little progress was made. Why? Why else? Racism, one of the oldest, most universal sins in the book. And this week, Chief Justice Roberts saw a long-held goal of his come to fruition, the gutting of the Voting Rights Act. I spent my entire adult life in predominantly white communities in 4 different states as a privileged white Republican not impacted at all by racism. So sadly, it wasn't until George Floyd's murder that I started to really educate myself and changed parties as a result. If you're a Republican who didn't know these things before either, now you do. Chalk this up as things I didn't know as a Republican.
Right. Yep.
That is just, I mean,
It's
that
on
is
point.
a lot of people.
And
That
that's
is
the
a
thing.
lot of people.
And I'm going to say this because they, she identifies as obviously like specifically a Republican, but the reality of the situation, and if we're having an honest conversation here, is I know plenty of people who vote
Me too.
Democratic also that
Yeah.
held some of those same views. And like we talk about it, like, how it was like, oh, we've elected a black man, racism is over,
Yeah,
we
racism.
did it.
I didn't
Yay
think that.
us.
But
Well,
there
we
are people,
didn't.
a lot of people
But
that
I know
thought
a
that.
lot of people, yeah, that felt like, oh, okay,
Well, I remember thinking the civil rights movement was like, okay, like she said, we fixed it. I mean, that is how we're taught that in school.
Yep.
That, oh, here's what happened before, but we fixed that. This is,
Yep.
all these other problems that we had are been fixed.
Right.
And so this is just so universal here in the United States. And we see
Yes.
that, I wasn't taught about the Tulsa race
No.
riot.
Oh, the Tulsa massacre,
I mean, the race
the
rights. I mean,
Tuskegee,
the Tulsa
Yeah.
or Tuskegee. I'd heard about it vaguely in college, but not actually taught what happened.
Right.
And so, and I mean, we didn't even know, I mean, what was that? Oh my God, we're in Texas. God, the day that we started celebrating it, Juneteenth. Juneteenth.
Juneteenth. Hmm.
We knew I'd heard Juneteenth because that started because Texas waited till much later
It
after
was
the
like,
Civil War
wasn't it
already
2 years?
to free
Wasn't it
their
like two
slave.
years? It
Yeah,
was three. So
yeah, we
yeah.
had to be told. Some people had to come here personally and say, "Hey, you
Hey,
know
you
what? You
guys,
need to free your
you have to
slaves,
let those
okay?
people
Slavery's
go.
over." Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my
So
God.
so I knew about it, but I didn't know the details, and we didn't celebrate it nationwide.
Right.
You
No,
know,
I mean, I can say that the first time I heard about Juneteenth, what was probably, oh my God, maybe 5 years ago.
yeah, because we
Seriously.
don't talk about these
No, it's
things.
not taught. No, none of this. I mean, we learn about, Harriet Tubman, Frederick
That's right.
Douglass, Martin Luther King Jr., I mean, some of these key, figures and yeah, important, but I mean, there's so much more that, you
No,
know,
I didn't know much about Medgar Evers. I mean, a lot of
no.
these people that were involved in the civil rights movement were not taught about them.
Hmm. Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean, we learned up here, but not in depth. It was, and
no,
and this
because that would be
idea that we
uncomfortable.
have, the fact that we have like Black History Month. I mean, it's just, it's
Hmm.
placating, and it's kind of, and to me, it's not meaningful. Like there
It's
should be
pandering.
it's
Yeah.
pandering. It should be a full curriculum, not a month, right?
No, and it's the shortest month of the year, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. No mistake there.
And then you hear people go, "What about White History Month?" Like we
Oh my
don't teach
God, are
white
you
history
kidding me?
every
Yeah.
month.
Okay. Jesus Christ, are you kidding me?
That's their answer. It's kind of like, "What
But
about
see,
white lives? White lives matter too."
well, right. And
As if
there's
white
the
lives didn't
problem, and
matter.
that's why we can't have nice things, and that's why we can never, get past go with this
Mm-mm.
stuff because people have those stupid lazy takes.
No, I mean, and especially right now where you're hearing about, white people, I mean, black people being racist, anything that kind of that they see as it's not favoring, but any kind of civil rights or anything like that
Hmm.
is considered racism against white people.
Right. Right.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. And
It's
Donald Trump, that's
nonsense.
what their civil rights division is works on
Hmm.
to go after people that are being racist towards white people.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's just
It's
grotesque.
nonsensical. It's grotesque. It's obscene. It's
Yeah.
absolutely obscene. So okay, I'm gonna play this next one. This is Jen Psaki.
Oh, here's another
Um,
example of people waking up, I guess.
mm, mm,
You wonder if they've been in a coma.
right. Yes, exactly. Were you in a coma?
Yeah, what happened?
Okay, let me make sure
You
the
must have
volume's
been,
up on
because
this one. Bear with me 1 second. Let me get this
this is
going.
from Jen Psaki on
This is
MS
Jen
Now.
Psaki, yes.
This one is super fascinating. Okay, a woman by the name of Victoria. I'm going to play it for you. She was not aware. She didn't even know January 6th happened. And when she found out about it, she was done. Okay, so listen to what she has to say.
I'd been assigned to watch a PBS documentary about January 6th. I remember them talking about the Proud Boys, and I was like, what are the Proud Boys? What is this? And watching that documentary, I learned a lot of really, really not so nice truths about Trump. And that led me down this path of asking questions. Did this really happen? Could I have context on this? At the core of MAGA, I believe that people want to love America, not the America that is, but the idea of America, right? And I love the idea of America. So to think that people could go and assault like the foundations of what this country is, like they preach constitutionalism, but then disregard it when it does not suit them. And that was a big breaking point for me, were the contradictions. Once I saw them, like there were so many contradictions.
I mean, look, I think people out there might say, how did she not know about January 6th? Be quiet. That's not the question to be asking right now. The question
Yeah, it
is, people like her, this is a great website. It's like, who needs to know more information about what this guy is actually about? Who may not watch MS Now. They may not watch Midas Touch or listen to it. They may not listen to Pod Save America, whatever else it may be, and allow for a bridge for these people to walk over it to the side that is not supporting somebody who played a role in January 6th. So that I think is super interesting. Okay, there's another one. I mean, there are
Okay,
lots of
wait.
them.
Can you stop it right now? Because I
Yeah.
want to comment on this.
Thank you.
Okay, you don't have to watch MS Now or Midas Touch to know what happened on January 6th. Where
Right.
has this woman been? I swear to God, these people are willfully
Well,
ignorant.
this is the thing. Do they want, something for dummies?
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
do.
it's, and that, yeah, and to me, this is the thing. Okay, back up where she's talking about the idea of America.
I know that bothered me too.
Well,
What?
here's the thing. What exactly is that? And the way America isn't, but what we want it to be. Well, what is that?
What is
See,
that?
that's the
One,
thing when I
yeah, make.
say show your work. What is your idea of America?
Well, let's see. She fell for "Make America Great Again." What does that mean?
Right.
I
And
mean,
and
again, in other words, at
and
a
the
time when it was.
vilification and scapegoating of black and brown people
That's exactly right. Well, she wanted a
and
time.
trans people.
Yeah, she wanted a time when, you know what, they were white people were, you know, in charge of everything. And well, they still are in charge of everything. I shouldn't say that. But where they didn't have to feel like they had any kind of responsibility.
Hmm. And what version of the Constitution are you just talking about? Are you talking about the one that allows for amendments and progress over time? And where we start enfranchising people who were not able to vote, like black people, like
Yes.
women, like, right?
Well, when they weren't considered equal. That's what it
Right.
is. It's
Hmm.
when black people and brown people and everybody else was considered,
Women.
and
Mhm.
women were well, she probably doesn't even recognize that.
No.
But because she takes it for granted, right?
Hmm.
Because she's a woman. But I mean, when people say "Make America Great Again," and you ask them, well, when was America great in your mind? And
Right.
they will, and I've heard these interviews at MAGA rallies, and they'll say, "Oh, 1950s." Well, what could have happened after the 1950s that made America
Right.
not so great again?
Right.
Not so great.
Right. Well, and and we'll play this thing, and talk about the farmers, the numbers, these farmers that, MAGA farmers that are, now feeling it. But, and I was listening to somebody and they were talking about when, farmers used to vote Democratic, and then when they left the Democratic Party and started voting Republican. So they've been
It was
voting
after the civil
Republican
rights.
since 1964. And what happened, Anita?
Hmm.
What was that?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I say that all
Mhm.
the time. The
Mhm.
Democratic Party, the white working class didn't. I mean, the Democratic Party didn't abandon the white working class. The white
No,
working class abandoned the Democratic Party
because they're
after the
racist.
civil rights
Mhm.
and voting rights acts.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep. So, okay, I'm going to keep playing this, okay?
That stuck out to us, and one of them is from a guy named Michael from Ohio. And what was his heart stop? Well, the villainization of immigrants, and like Lord knows that has been central. I see you, Stephen Miller, to what Trumpism is all about. But it's interesting to hear people talk about it and this realization of the impact of it on their actual lives. So just listen to what Michael had to say.
I feel the way you talk as a leader really matters. It's at some point, it's not just words, and it affects people's lives. And it's the immigration process is already really hard as it is, and it takes a long time. And if they're drumming up fear about immigrants, I feel like it's going to make it almost impossible for me to bring her over here.
Okay, so he's talking about the fact that his girlfriend is from the Philippines and he's seeing the impact on his life. And again, you may say, well, Stephen Miller was in the first White House. That's true. But you know what? Everything is worse this term. This one is super fast.
That's not good enough.
I
sorry.
don't think so.
Words matter. Yes, words do matter. Grab them by the pussy were words. Poisoning the blood of our country.
And why are people like Jen Psaki giving them an out? Again,
because
show your work. I mean, he's sitting there talking about it, but he's talking about it in terms of how, like you were saying, it impacts him
personally. Yeah,
personally. And that's when. But it's like, why did it have to come to that? Why
We're,
can't you just, who are you? And I'm sure that these people will call themselves Christian,
but where
you
was he
know?
when he was saying they're eating the dogs, they're eating
Yeah.
the cats? I mean, all these different things
Where
that
was
could
he
have
when
been.
he talked about from the jump, when he was coming down the escalator in
That's what call. Yeah,
2015?
it's exactly right. Calling Mexicans rapists and
Criminals and
criminals.
rapists. Yeah.
Yeah. But then it hit him, and all of a sudden, oh, watch that language. That you shouldn't be talking like that. Well, I mean, where were you? Once again, he's just like that other woman who woke up and started, had to learn about January 6th. Well, where the hell have these people been? This
Right.
is what bothers me. We don't
We
decide
have,
elections on policy, okay? People don't give a shit about policy. It's all about vibes. The people
right.
that decide our elections, I'm not saying that people on the left, a lot of us don't care about policy, but the people who are deciding elections and people on the right who care about policies because they like the hate, they like the
Hmm.
discrimination. But the people that actually decide elections, they're not
Hmm.
paying attention. They're going with the vibes, or they're going with the messages that they keep pounding in. The Republican Party understands this.
Hmm.
Okay, so they keep repeating things about somebody. They take one little thing and they make a big production out of it, and that's what people remember. That's why it's so harmful when people on the left started screaming "Genocide Joe."
Right. And the thing of it is, we had the January 6th commission,
Yeah,
and I mean, it was months, right? Of interviewing and investigating and gathering of information and presenting it. And so where were these people? Was it our media wasn't, like the local news wasn't reporting it? Why, it just doesn't make
they're
any
not paying
sense to me.
attention to the local
They're
news.
just not paying attention, right?
They're
I
just
mean,
not,
yeah, they
and
don't
they don't
want
want.
to know. It's like they didn't really want to know.
No, they're willfully ignorant, and they're paying attention to what's that Housewives show that I don't that
Mm-hmm.
real those reality shows,
Yeah,
those
yeah.
Real
Real
Housewives or
Housewives.
The Bachelor or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. They'll probably be able to tell you all about that,
Mm-hmm.
but they cannot tell you, or Kim Kardashian or whoever, whatever.
Yeah.
But they cannot tell you what happened on January 6th. Are you
Right.
kidding me? They can't tell you. They didn't know that Donald Trump was full of hate and that that's the way he talked all the time for 10
Mm-hmm.
years. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you that we have to.
We have
There's
to
a
get to the root.
we have to get to the root, but there's middle. I don't know what to do about the people who are deciding elections being this ignorant.
Yeah.
I mean, do we have? That's why when we see these Lego videos,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh well, maybe this will. And this is how desperate we are that we're taking Iranian propaganda because
Yeah.
it is telling the truth about America.
Right.
A lot about America.
I mean,
And
they're terrible.
Iran is terrible.
Iran is terrible. They're killing their own people. They're
That's right.
oppressing their own people. It's like over 53% of or over, I'm sorry, I think it was like 53% of Iranians are living in poverty. Is the number that
Well, that's
yeah.
also because of the sanctions and stuff like that.
Well, no, I understand, but I'm just saying, I mean, it's like people are hurting there, but people are hurting here as well.
But we
you
don't
know?
hate the Iranian people. It's just
But
like
we don't hate, no, we don't hate the Iranian people. And, at this point, when you have these these Lego videos coming out of Iran, that are actually doing a better job at telling the truth in our own mainstream
in an
media.
entertaining way. In an
Yeah.
entertaining way. And
Right.
maybe our mainstream media, it doesn't even matter what our mainstream media says, because if these type of videos are actually getting a message out
But
in
it
an
does
entertaining
matter.
way.
I get what you're saying, but it does matter what our
It does
mainstream
matter. It
media
does matter. But
says.
I meant to these people.
I
I'm
get
talking
you.
about these low
Right.
information voters.
Right. The people that have to have this stuff drop
Yeah.
in their social media.
They have to be entertained.
Right.
They have to. Fox News entertains them.
Mm-hmm.
They put the pretty girls up there and they show some leg and
Mhm. Mm-hmm.
and they have all the bright colors. They know what they're doing.
No, they do. They do. It's like a drug.
Yeah.
So the Patriotic Blonde on Twitter, says, I hated Biden with a passion,
Mm.
but the numbers don't lie. This administration has been an epic failure in every sense of the word. And she posts a graphic and it speaks about farm bankruptcies soared under Trump, fell under Biden, rising again under Trump in 2025. Farm bankruptcies hit a decade high in 2019 amid Trump's trade turbulence, then declined under Biden as pandemic era support and rising commodity prices stabilized the farm market, before rising again in 2025 as new economic pressures emerged under Trump's return to office.
Yeah. And I want to know, I mean, I asked a question, what else did right-wing media lie to her about? That's a question she should be asking herself. These
Right.
people that are waking up.
Right.
I always, my question to any of them is, who won the 2020 election? Who lost the 2020 election?
Mm-hmm.
Because that'll tell you everything you want to know
Right.
about where they're at.
Right.
If they do not realize everything is a lie,
Mm-hmm.
that Donald Trump
Everything that comes out of
Russia wasn't a hoax.
No.
The Russia thing wasn't a hoax. All of that.
Yep. And it's the entire party.
It is the entire party because they perpetuate the lies. And they've been lying. They were lying way before Donald Trump.
Yep, they sure
But now it's even more shameless because they've got a leader that's even more shameless.
Right. So in Raw Story, they have an article from today by Travis Geddes. Trump voters in key state think he's gone too far. I have to go Democrat.
Yeah, don't read the whole thing, but there's some parts in it. Look for that guy that says he voted for Moreno, but now he's going to vote for Democrats.
Okay, let's see.
He's a Republican. Toward the bottom.
Yeah, let me see here. Hold on one second. Keep talking.
Rutabaga. He's a carrot.
Okay, hold on one second. He voted for Moreno. Okay, here we go. Okay, so they speak about, Trump has carried Ohio in 3 consecutive elections with growing margins, and he sits at the center of Democratic hopes to retake the Senate. Democratic minority leader Chuck Schumer has named it one of 4 top targets, and the Senate GOP's super PAC has already pledged $79 million to defend the seat. So that's Sherrod Brown. Brown, now 73, is running on kitchen table economics, casting.
Wait. Sherrod Brown. Wait, say that again.
Yeah.
It's Sherrod Brown, who was there. He was a senator before. I know.
Yes.
But said it quickly. Go ahead.
Okay, I just said Brown because that's what it says.
Okay.
So Brown, now 73, is running on kitchen table economics, casting Husted as complicit in rising costs, but the political terrain remains steep. Polls show a close race, and Youngstown State political scientist Paul Srachich warned that Trump's loyalty among his base is durable even amid discontent. Even when they disagree, they're not going to abandon him. Still, cracks are showing. Lifelong area resident Ron Iacoboni, who backed Trump and Bernie Moreno in 2024, said he now plans to vote straight Democratic. Republicans are so way out of line. I have to go all Democrat, said the 71-year-old Iacoboni. I try and change from time to time, depending on the situation, but we have to get some change in Washington. So I'm going to go with as many Democrats as I can. His wife, a Trump voter, said she's reconsidering. I think he's gone a little overboard this time.
You know what? I know these people are probably, especially him, are probably a Trump Biden Trump voter. And these are the only people that we can get. The people that are just that they talk about are just never going to leave him. That they're in the cult. There's no getting to them. You're wasting your time.
Yep.
But go ahead.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
So there are cracks, and of course, there have been some Democratic wins in Texas, of all places.
I know. I'm so excited about that.
So the Green Dragon Tavern tweets, a solid red city in Texas just elected a Democratic mayor. Trump won this county 3 times. Congratulations to Quentin Wiltz. So Democrats win in Republican stronghold in Texas is the graphic here. So that's big. That
That
is
is
big.
big. I
And
mean, I'm looking
mhm.
forward to Senator James Tellerico, by the way, just
Oh
saying.
my God,
Okay.
yes. So last night, this is Taniel tweets. Last night saw more setbacks for the Texas right in school boards. They already lost a lot of ground 12 months ago. Yesterday, at least 6 conservative board members who were at forefront of book bans or policies restricting LGBT rights were ousted. And so there's a graphic here. Texas Grapevine Colleyville School District, May 2nd. The school district located in Tarrant County drew national attention after far-right candidates running on an explicitly Christian, quote unquote, message, that's me,
Yeah, right.
took over the board and adopted conservative policies such as restricting, the rights of trans students. 3 conservative incumbents are running for re-election this year. Yeah, and I mean, so there are more here.
No, but that's amazing because
That's
that's what's
huge.
happening across the country. People, parents, normal people do not want book bans. They don't
Hmm.
want their kids, have to look at the Ten Commandments every day. Like that's for church. That's for their
Hmm.
that's something that you teach them at home,
Right.
not at
And
school. If they
and I
want
was
to, go ahead, go
sorry.
ahead.
No, I was gonna say just, because this looks like it's a lot of it is, specifically the book bans, but the ones where they wanted to impose restrictions on trans
Yeah.
students.
Hmm.
Um, I was listening to Michelangelo Signorelli last week, and he had McBride, Representative McBride on, and she was talking about she came out and said less than 1% of people say that they vote based off of the trans issue.
I know it's a losing issue. It always
Mm-hmm.
has been. I know a lot of people try to say, "Oh, we can't touch that issue," because the Republicans were the ones who brought it up all the time. It wasn't
Uh-huh.
Democrats, but
Right.
they're afraid of it, and for some reason they think that helped Republicans win. I don't
Mm-hmm.
believe that.
I
I
don't believe
think
it either.
no. I believe there were, the whole,
It
post
was the eating the
COVID,
dogs, eating the
eating
cats.
the dogs, eating the cats, and then I'm talking about the Trump voters. They didn't
Right.
care about the trans issues.
No.
They voted on what was a post-COVID economy that they were feeling, and they wanted to get back to the pre-COVID economy that they felt that Trump inherited from Obama,
Mm-hmm.
and so they were voting with their pocketbooks. A lot of them. I mean,
Right.
there's that senator, that we just talked about, who decide elections. I don't think that trans issue is the issue that people are voting. It's just not. It doesn't work. We saw
Mm-hmm.
that in the midterms in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was running on it. All Republicans were using that, and they were losing on it.
Right.
So I just don't, why all of a sudden in the general election would that have been the big issue that, decided the issue for Ted Cruz? Are you kidding me?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. So, yeah, I mean, so there are some hopeful signs. And yes, if you're going to get right with the Lord and leave the Republican Party and never vote Republican again or vote for Democrats, I mean, I think that there needs to be a baseline expectation that you are really going to look hard. Like it's not enough to just say, I regret my vote. Look hard at what it really was. Like that woman, that we played in the beginning.
Yeah.
Look
Well, we
at it,
know
and,
it.
and we
Yeah.
need we need to have a reckoning. And I've heard this from more people, Black people in particular. Is like until we deal with the race issue in this country, the racism in this country,
I said that.
you said it too, but I've heard a lot of other people say it. This is at the base of it. This is at the root of of the
Of
issue is
course.
that we have
Yeah,
got to
it
deal
has
with
been
racism.
it has been, I mean, think about it. We were just talking about how all these white working class people went from voting for Democrats to
Mm-hmm.
voting Republican
Mm-hmm.
after the 1965 Civil Rights Act.
Mm-hmm.
And I know because my in-laws, oh, the last Democrat I ever voted for was John F. Kennedy.
Yep.
And I was like, huh, that's
Hmm.
weird. Ronald Reagan went from being a Democrat to being a Republican.
Yep.
You see, that's a pattern. That's what happened.
Yep.
And so now I don't know. I mean, it's been LBJ said, when he signed the Civil Rights Acts and the Voting Rights Act, we've lost the South for a generation.
Yeah.
It's been, and I think he was wrong because it's been more than a generation.
Right.
But and I don't know, but certainly we're taking steps backwards by electing Donald Trump as a backlash to Barack Obama.
Yep.
And we're going to keep. We saw the backlash after the Civil War. We saw a backlash after what do you call it? Oh my God, Plessy versus Ferguson.
Mm-hmm.
All these different things, like you would see all these Confederate statues being erected. That was
Mm-hmm.
all a backlash.
Yep.
So we need to recognize it.
We have
first.
to acknowledge that. Yep.
Yeah. And then we teach our kids better, and hopefully we can have school boards and teachers that do a better job at teaching our kids the real history,
Yep.
and not just give it a month that they gloss over it.
Exactly right. We have to do
Yeah.
better. So while this has been a lot of fun, doing this with you today.
It's always fun,
It's
Karen.
always fun. And I'm going to go ahead and play us out with
Okay, we're
MAGA
gonna
Cult
preface it.
Slayer, Broken
MAGA Cult Slayer.
Promises,
Yeah.
the latest Iranian Lego diss track, Monday, May 4th, 2026. And again, the Iranian government sucks.
They're bad.
We love
We
the
have to be
Iranian
careful.
people.
We don't
have to
wanna-
be careful.
Let me just say it real quick, and I've said this to you. When the Iraq war was going on, I remember a lot of people would turn to RT, Russian propaganda, basically, because it was kind of telling us the truth. It was telling us the truth about what was happening in Iraq, and we were desperate. We're trying to find out what was really happening. And they seemed to be on our side. So a lot of people trusted them,
Mm-hmm.
but they weren't trustworthy.
Right.
And so it ended up biting us in the ass later on.
Right. And we can't be fooled
We can't
this
be
time.
fooled. No, they're telling us the truth. It's not to say that what they're saying is not true,
Right.
but
Right.
we have to be careful
Mm-hmm.
about understanding the motivations of the people that are putting this out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It definitely comes with a caveat and a warning.
Mhm.
And it's interesting that both of those things have happened because there were Republicans in
Yeah.
power that were lying to us.
Of course, that is weird, huh?
Hmm.
Seems to be a pattern.
Sure does.
Mm.
So, all right. Well, I am going to play us out with
Hey,
this
MAGA.
Yes.
one.
Oh, we have another Lego video for you Trump supporters. This one's called Broken Promises. Believe it or not, your daddy has a lot of those.
Buffering. I don't know why it does
Ladies and gentlemen, gather around the stage of shattered illusions. Behold the spectacle. A self-proclaimed savior, crown askew, promises dissolving like smoke in the wind. From gilded barrooms to audacious maps redrawn, a leader who chased empires while his faithful waited in vain. Tonight, we unveil the ledger of broken vows, where loyalty met delusion and rhetoric eclipsed reality. Supporters, defenders of the dear leader, prepare to confront the mirror. The curtain rises on truth, unfiltered. Yeah. Yeah. Campaign trail king with the golden crown. Promised the moon, not the skies. Crashing down. Supporters lined up, hats red as the flag. Defending dear leader, waving that MAGA rag. You ask them why they hit you with policies. Border secure? Nah, that's the oldest fallacy. Obama deported millions, records on the board. Biden kept the pace, removals by the horde. Trump brought the fear, made the headlines scream. screen. Terror in our heartland shattered the American dream. But props for the optics, the spectacle play. Scared folks from coming, yet the base still betrayed. Broken promises, lies in the wind. Supporters defending, where do we begin? 5G chess master, only the lives they say. Giving up everything, waiting for the day. Fools on the earth, with the blindest faith. Daddy Trump rising, but it's all a charade. Epstein files locked, economy tank. Foreign policy failing, dreams forever blank. Obsessed with the ballroom, dancing through the night. Mar-a-Lago mirrors reflecting false light. Greenland on the list, he wanted it bought. Canada as the 51st, the widest star. Cuba in his sights, take over dreams so grand. Why? Biden shadow lingers across the land, economy gutting.
Wow, Obama had more mass deportations than Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is constantly living in Joe Biden's shadow. See, this is what I've been saying to you Trump supporters. You literally are getting what you voted for. There is not a single thing Donald Trump has done that you can point at and say that he's actually doing a good job at it. And this is why I agree. These are a bunch of broken promises you all are running around here bragging and acting like you're winning with. Woo! With all these broken promises your dear leader keeps making, I just have one question. Are you still winning?